All right, so now what else? Maybe a little bit of a description about me. Maybe that would be a good idea. So I'm going to add a little bit of white space. This extra line break that I just added there does nothing, right? It's just for me. It helps me better organize things. And all of these little gaps that I've been putting in front also do nothing. They just make it easier for me to see what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to add maybe an H5 tag for this. And this will be maybe who am I, right? And what should you include here? Oops, we're not going to open a new header element. We're going to close the H5 element. H5, there, all right? And if I run, we should see that below it. There we go. Who am I? And then I can add in maybe a paragraph tag with a description of maybe like, about me or who I am or etc. So let's see. Grew up in Houston, went to Westchester Academy, graduated from University of Houston and Rice University, and whatever. You can write whatever you want, right? So that's fine. You can, of course, write more. I'm just trying to do things fairly quickly, right? So pause it, write what you want, right? And on each one of these, pause it and go ahead and follow what I do, and then continue. All right, so let's add another little section on here. So maybe another H5 tag, and this can be maybe hobbies, maybe with a capital H, right? And then there we go. And then what do I want to include here? Now for this one, I want to do a list, right? We did lists in Markdown with GitHub, right? So how do we do lists here? So there's unordered lists and there's ordered lists. I'm not going to order my hobbies. I'm not going to try to say which ones I like best. I'm just going to use an unordered list. So that is UL, unordered list. Very simple. If we open the tag, we have to close the tag just like everything else. So /UL, right? And then inside of here are going to be my list items. And that's what I write for each of these items. Each one of these is just li. That is my list element. So let's see, I like photography, right? And I can close this list element and I can add a new list element. And I like to draw, so we can do that. And I, open it before we close it. And I like coding, so we can put that. And I don't know, reading. Reading's good. Reading, right? And that's good. You can always add more yourself. So if I hit run, let's see how it looks. There we go, right? So I've got a list here, right? And I think that will work fine. So go ahead and pause it and do what I did, and then, press resume to resume the video when you're ready. Now I'm not really sure if I like the gap here. Like this is fine. I'm okay with that. But these feel kind of close together. So there's a couple different things I could do. I could add in some additional line breaks, and that's fine. If I run it, we can see how that looks. It's better. Maybe that's too many line breaks. I can decide how many I want. I can also add in like a line to divide it, right? So that would be HR for horizontal rule. So BR is for break, HR is for horizontal rule, horizontal ruler, horizontal rule. So if I run that, that will give me a little line in between. There you go. And I think that's decent too. Now that I have the line there, I kind of feel like I want a line on the bottom as well. So maybe I'll just copy and paste that, and then I can add that down here. Let's space, there we go. And I'll run it. I think that looks a little better. Now I didn't add a whole lot, right? You're welcome to add more. So, think about what else are things that you might want to share on here. Maybe like what are your future plans? What would you like to do in your future. Oh, I misspelled. I thought I fixed Houston. Oh, I'm fixed Houston with the university. There we go. So what other things do you want to add on here? You can press pause and add a few extra paragraphs in there with a few more headers. Keep your separation with horizontal rules until you have, a number of different things. All right, so once again, go ahead and pause and do what I did, and then you're going to resume when you're done. All right, so I've added a few more. I've paused it and made a few more, just like I recommended that you do. And if I hit run, right, we can see I've got a few more on here. Now this is getting fairly long, so maybe I don't want this to be that long. So maybe now I add some additional pages. So let's talk about links. So I've got my index.html, and maybe I add in a page about, like, I don't know, things I like. So it doesn't really matter what we call this. So this could be, it literally could be things I like .html. Right, and now we've got this. It's blank right now. I could try to rewrite all this, but I don't really want to. Instead, do Command A and Command C, and then we go over here and do Command V, right? If I run this, it'll be the exact same thing. That's okay. Instead, here I'm going to change this to things I like. I'm going to also change this to things I like. Maybe this I'll change also. So maybe like hobbies and other stuff, right? I want them to know as soon as they get on this page that it's not the same page, right? I don't want them to get here and be like, oh, it's the same thing I already saw, right? So change the title and some of those things. And I'm going to delete this Who Am I section. And I think I'll just start it off with the hobbies and some of those. Pause it and go ahead and follow what I do and then continue. I think that's good. So if I hit run now, I think that's all right. Oh, I'm still on, what am I on? I'm on the index page. Well, that's okay. We're going to make a link to this page anyway, so that's fine. So if I go back to index on here, I'm going to go ahead and delete the things that I just added onto the other page. So we'll go down to here, and now we have just the Who Am I. So go ahead and pause it and do what I just did. And maybe here we add in like an H4 tag, close it, and this could be like a menu option or a sections option or something like that. Menu, and in here I can add in maybe I do another list, right? Or maybe I just have just regular writing. It could be just regular writing. So hobbies and things I like, right? And that's going to go here. So right now it's just text. If we run it and we look, we'll see it down here, right? Oh, let's add this. There we go. Add in that line break like we have on the other pages. Right, there we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Maybe add in an extra BR because I don't quite like the spacing. There we go. And now let's make this a link because right now it does nothing, right? So a link for this is it's called an anchor element. So we don't write all of anchor, we just write A, right? And then we have to close it, /A, right? And now if I run this, it will look like a link. Well, it doesn't look like a link. It should look like a link. Okay, so we didn't finish making the link, and I guess Replit knows that. A lot of browsers and a lot of things will already make it look like a link, even with just this, because this is the link element. It just doesn't go anywhere yet. So we need to give it a location, a destination that it's going to go to. So to do that, we do href. That's a hyperlink reference, right? So that's going to take it to somewhere else, like this page over here. So href is the attribute name. We're going to do equals, and then inside of quotes, the name of that page. Well, not just the name of the page, the file name of the page. So things I like.html. All right, and now if we run it, perfect, there we go. Now we have this link here. So just like lots of the other times, go ahead and pause it if you haven't already and do what I did, and then When you're done, press resume and let's see if it works. So let's see, my link looks fine. This looks fine, right? I've closed the elements, and I think this matches exactly. So if I try it, it should go there. There we go. Things I like, hobbies and other stuff. Perfect. So now if I wanted to, I could copy and paste these things to GitHub, and that should work. So far all we've been doing is HTML. What about the CSS? So CSS will make things look nicer,